Hi, and welcome to the One Thing I Know for Sure, a briefcast designed to inspire amazing things, unlock powerful insights, and to really promote and also inspire transformational change. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I'm Chief Pathfinder at Pathfinder One to One, a transformation practice where we work with clients from a approach of first internal, then external to really change your world and step into your greatness. Today, I'm very excited to welcome our guest, who I will introduce in a moment, once I share with you that this briefcast is really focused on one very powerful question. And that question is, what is the one thing that you know for sure? And we talk to people from all over the world, from all walks of life, because all of us have great life experiences. And we all have learned that there is one thing that we know for sure. And if we can share that with others and give some insights and tips, something's going to resonate with somebody out there and it'll make their life better. So today we welcome Michael Swinney, who is the co-founder of Absolute Certainty Inc. He also happens to be my longtime business partner and my longtime life partner, my husband. And I know I might be a little bit biased to bring on family members, but Mike has had a very storied career as the CEO of many companies, a serial entrepreneur, a business and marketing strategy consultant, and he has worked all over the world and has learned a lot in his life. And I know that I've benefited from it being his wife for sure. And I thought it would be important for everybody else to have the benefit of his insight. Now, I don't know exactly what he's going to say. So I'm excited to hear. So let's just get right to it. Mike, thanks so much for coming on with me today. I appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
And can you tell us what is the one thing that you know for sure?
Well, it was not an easy thing to come by. It's not an easy question to answer. But the one thing that I do know for sure as an advisor to companies, as a leader in companies, is I know how to ask lots of questions. I look for the answers from the people that I'm advising or the people that I'm trying to lead as to what are the goals? Where do you want to go? How do you think we should get there? And then if I have to make a decision, I make the decisions or I help them make the decisions that's best for them.
So are you saying that the one thing that you know for sure is that it's important to ask? Like asking in general is a really important tool and skill to have.
I think it's important because I think people, I was just reading a brief about a project that I've been very interested in recently in Great Britain. And they say, here's what we want, here's what we want, here's what we want, here's what we want. And I know that if I got a chance to be in front of them, I would say, explain what it is that you want and why you want it and ask the questions. And because people can't, until you get down into the very nitty gritty of something, most people don't start there. And a lot of them never end up there. And a lot of advisors make up their own mind about what it is they can do along the way, whether they hear the answer or not. And for me, it's always been I'd rather know answers to questions where I don't necessarily really like the answer, but it's something that's important to know than it is to not know it.
So, do you feel you have to have a certain skill set in order to ask the right questions? Or do you feel like just having the desire to ask the question is the best place to start?
I think just knowing that that's where you need to go is important, but is that a skill set? I think it might be a skill set. I know I have sought advice from a lot of other people, and when I usually seek the advice, they just give me an answer instead of saying, why do you want it? Or can you explain it
Mm.
further? Or what have you?
So, it also sounds like if you're being asked questions and somebody is not asking enough, that it's actually a good thing to say, "Hey, do you want to ask me any more questions?" Because it sounds like it's a two-sided tool, like a coin, right? Like it's about asking questions, but it's also recognizing that when people ask you more questions, you're going to be able to provide greater clarity so that they can help you with the answers.
That's correct. That's correct.
And Mike, do you use this just in business? I mean, I understand it's part of your consulting expertise that you've honed in over the last however many years. Do you think it's a tool that works really well in your life personally?
I think so. You should by now remember that I ask a lot of questions that sometimes sound like dumb questions, but why do you want that for dinner?
Never dumb. How about what do you want for dinner? That's the most common one in our household.
Or to our son of, why do you think you don't need to study tonight?
Right. That's an interesting point. So do you find that people are more open when you frame things as a question? Like, even in parenting, if you frame it as a question to our son David, do you find that he's more open instead of, hey, you need to study that? I think that's a great point. Maybe you can
Abs-
expand on that a little bit.
Absolutely. It's not leading somebody toward a goal that they may or may not want. It's letting them tell you that they want to get there and here's how they're willing to go to get there. And then by asking the questions and continuing to ask the questions, you can lead them on a path that may be more helpful to them than the one that they were going to go on to begin with.
I always like to plug myself and my company, but one of the tools that I have in my coaching quill, if you will, is a session called the three pillar session. And the whole session is based around asking questions. And when you ask the right questions, actually, you're able to reveal people's core superpowers. So like I'm surprised by this and that this is what you picked for your one thing to know for sure. But I have to say that now that you've mentioned it, I really do feel like it's an amazing tool that I hadn't thought about. So I really appreciate the fact that you brought it to light in this context. Can you give our listeners, our viewers, some tips maybe for how to ask questions better or anything that you can share in your experience that might help them internalize this one thing you know for sure and use it in their own lives?
Well, I think most people in business, as in their life, just need to slow down a little bit and stop talking and start listening. And asking questions is a great way to force yourself to listen.
That's great. Is there one question that is always a good one to ask, or does it depend on the person or the situation?
I think it depends on the person or the situation. Or there's the question of, you want me to pay for that?
All right. Well, I really think that this is very insightful, Mike, and I really appreciate your thought on it. And I have to say that in my experience as well, and not, my experience in business as a consultant, I couldn't agree with you more because that's what we do. But also, I will say that even as I've explored different modalities in life of spirituality and, even health and wellness and self care, I have learned that asking questions is really, really important. And it opens your heart up as well to seeing things in a different light. So I can't thank you enough for your perspective. Mike, do you want to share anything about what you're doing right now? Or and also if somebody wants to reach out to you and ask you more questions, where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me at just email me, Mike at absolutecertaintyinc.com, or you can reach me through my LinkedIn thing at Michael Swinney. And what am I working on? I've got a few things that I'm working on. One of them being something called the Global Music Experience that we're in the process of raising funding for apps that will allow people to go to various cities around the world and learn the history of that city through the music that was generated from there.
Awesome. All right. Mike, again, I appreciate your time. And everybody, if you're interested in learning more about Pathfinder and our transformation coaching, learning how to come from that first internal, then external perspective to really change your world, you can find us at www.pathfinder1to1.com. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for your time. And also, I would love to hear some of your favorite questions to ask, or when you've been in a situation where asking just the right question opened the doors up for you. So please feel free to comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.